Hello, my dear students. Welcome to a new lesson. Today, we will learn what is economics, then what is microeconomics and macroeconomics, and lastly, the central problems of an economy. These are the very primitive and basic concepts and ideas of economics. Firstly, what is economics? It is not easy to define economics in limited sentences because the subject is very vast in scope. In simple terms, we can say that economics is a social science concerned with production, distribution, consumption of goods and services. If we look through the various definitions put forwarded by different economists, we can go back to the definition of Adam Smith, who is known as the father of economics. His definition was very simple. Economics is the study of wealth of nations. But this oversimplified definition has been refuted by many of the later economists because this definition is not able to reflect all the scopes of the subject economics. However, by giving a definition considering each scope and aspect of the dynamic subject economics is a really tough matter. That's why today a popular line goes as, economics is what economics does. But among all the definitions put forwarded by different economists, we can pick up one of the popular and mostly accepted definition of economics, which is given by Lionel Robbins, one of the famous economists, in 1932. According to him, economics is a science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. Now, we can come to the broad categorization of the subject economics. We can categorize economics into two broad disciplines as microeconomics and macroeconomics. Both the term microeconomics and macroeconomics has been derived from two Greek words, namely micros and macros. But remember, the term microeconomics and macroeconomics goes in MICRO and MACRO. But the Greek term is MIKROS, micros, and MAKROS, macros. Before going to the theoretical discussion of microeconomics and macroeconomics, I would like to put forward an example. You are probably familiar with your storage device in your mobile and other electronic gadgets, which goes as micro SD and macro SD. The micro SD is a memory card which is a bit small, and the macro SD, which is nowadays going off the market gradually, is a bit large. Even you can adapt the micro SD into macro SD by a simple adapter and use in the electronic gadgets. So here the difference in both the storage devices are its sizes. Same goes for microeconomics and macroeconomics also. The scope of microeconomics will be smaller, as the name suggests, by micros, which means small in Greek language. And the term macroeconomics will mean big or large, as the name suggests, by macros in Greek language. So theoretically speaking, microeconomics will deal with those aspects of economics which has its relation with the individual consumer, producer, goods, service, market, or individual demand and individual supply. On the other hand, macroeconomics will deal with the whole or the group of the economy, like the aggregate demand, aggregate supply, aggregate production, aggregate consumption, national income, GDP, GNP of a country, employment and unemployment status of a country, and the list goes on, like inflation, whatever be the terms. If economics deals with a group or whole manner, it will under macroeconomics. Actually, microeconomics and macroeconomics are not contradictory. Rather, they are complementary to each other. It is micro and macro which makes the broad subject of economics. You can consider a tree as micro concept and the whole jungle as macro concept. So it is the tree which make up the jungle. So both are complementary to each other. Now we can go to the third part of today's lesson, which is the central problems of an economy. So in an economy, we face many problems, but economist has categorized three main problems as the central problems of an economy. These problems are what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Every economy has to decide what are the goods and services it will give priority in the production process. Because we have many goods, like necessary goods, luxury goods, illegal goods, etc., etc. As our money is scarce, our resources are scarce, we have to give priority in production of those goods and services which are essentially the best for the economy. Regarding the second problem, how to produce, we will be left with two options: whether to produce the goods in a labor intensive way or to produce the goods in a capital intensive way. That means how to produce will be the technological aspect associated with the production of goods and services. If a country has more labor but less money or capital, it can go for labor intensive technology. That means the same work will be done with more labor and less machine and capital. It may be suitable for countries like India. And those countries which have more technology and capital and less population, they can go for capital intensive technology, which will use more machine and capital than labor. And the third problem is for whom to produce. Because there are various groups of people in our society, the poorer class, the middle class, the higher class. And goods and services are meant for different sections of people. For general masses, for industrialists, for capitalists, for businessmen, etc. The country must decide which are the sections of people it will satisfy first or in a priority manner by its production and consumption. That's all for today. Thank you. We will meet in our next class.